Don't skip this video if you own a B58 like this. If you own a B58, I'm sure you know about the PCV issue. However, on the Gen 1, that was a little like diaphragm on top of the engine. And in the Gen 2s, they integrated it into the motor itself. And what that PCV does is pretty much regulate blow-by gases from the crankcase, and then it'll filter out most of the oil vapors and everything else before redirecting it into the intake. It'll condense some of that and then reuse it into the engine. However, the problem with a lot of things is that nothing is 100% efficient. So some of those vapors are still going to have oil in it. So when it goes inside of your intake, meets with cold air, it's going to condense and leave a little film or residue in your intake. And what that sounds like to me, oil being anywhere but inside the engine does not sound good. So if oil vapor is still collecting residue in your intake, imagine what it's doing when it's traveling through the hose lines and condensing in there. You're going to have a bunch of built up gunk in your hose lines. And if you think you're safe in a Gen 2 B58, I recently took off my intake and found a little pool of oil sitting in my turbo inlet. And here's a close-up. This is the OEM intake inlet, and I've had this sitting outside for about 12 hours, and you can still see a greasy film residue along the inside. And this is the OEM turbo inlet. I don't know if you can tell, but it is very slick and oily in there. You can see on this O-ring that it's kind of oily. And if you're anything like me and you want to drive your car for as long as possible with no problems, please take off your intake, check that. And if there's a lot of oil, you should probably do a PCV delete if you have a Gen 1 B58 and then have an oil catch can, or if you just have a Gen 2, Gen 3, whatever it is, just have an oil catch can. You know, spending $200 on an oil catch can like that can't hurt you.